I know I need help, oh Father. Yeah, but them know about pain. Life hard, but I can't complain. The past left by my brain like stain. Only for bad choices, so I can't change. I start talk to myself like every day. Them I swear some I gone insane. But the chat them feel like therapy. Dark of the thoughts within my brain. I know I need help, oh Father, Father. Can't do this by myself, oh Father, Father. Yeah, and every day me I fight my thoughts. When me feel for murder, the whole of them lads. I need your strength, oh Father, Father. Yeah, right now I feel like I'm trapped in a basement. Dark room and the walls them a caving. But one move I'm not get no space when I try. Don't know why. Them see me stuck and them not to help me. Nah give up, but them calling me lazy. Nah give up, though them calling me crazy. I try. Oh, right now I need your help, oh Father, Father. Can't do this by myself, oh Father, Father. Father, every day me I find my thoughts. Me feel like for murder, the whole of them lads. Need your strength, oh Father, Father. Need your help, oh Father. Right now, me need your help, oh Father. Can't do this by myself, oh Father. Father,
another episode. And to it all, we have to hold on. Face your fears and fight no matter how long. Solid, chatty with every load. Don't panic, cause every day's another episode. And to it all, we have to hold on. Face your fears and fight no matter how long. The fight only finish with the weak ones. So when Jaja call you, watch how you respond. Dark, face your fears, fight your demons. You have to be firm, we go to a jubilation. He is a heavy load, still a channel. I feel like a city bill, so me fi carry on. And the dark days pray fi go to the storm. Now give up none time, cause that's not me born. Solid, Johnny with every load. Don't panic, cause every day's another episode. And to be all, we have to hold on. Face your fears and fight no matter how long. Solid, Johnny with every load. Don't panic, cause every day's another episode. And to be fears and fight no matter how long.
Solid, me solid, just like a rock. Spiritually we fight a lot. They trap them, said ya cancel that. You just can't stop me, not try do that. Got to be careful of negligence. Move wise, use up your intelligence. Guard of honor like the presidents. Progress and its evidence. Me no care how much time they want turn me down. Think say me woulda tumble down. Chant to me ancestors speak Congo drum. That's why me know me have to overcome. Stand firm and not lean for no one. You can set up your own program. Have the whole world a sing out your slogan. No time in a slow down. Plus we
solid. Johnny with every load. Don't panic, cause every day's another episode. And to be
My husband was asking me, like about even like 2 years ago, like how is things so expensive in Guyana? Because he would have visited Guyana at least
I like to hear
on
you say
2 or more occasions.
My husband, I like to hear you say that. My husband.
Separated now, but
Your husband still.
my husband still.
Yeah.
Make sure y'all records clean. Y'all records clean like Jesus soon. When the y'all run out for me. Can hear what y'all do for yourself. Some of y'all just put the spotlight on yourself. Or
my client is married to a U.S. citizen. There is an approved I-130, and there's also a pending I-485 in the system. So she is eligible to adjust.
Okay, let me understand the posture of your case. You have already filed an I-130 with the department, approved. You have a pending 485 with the department.
No, it was filed with USCIS.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Okay.
Yes.
What is the status of that I-485?
The 485 has been pending since September of 2023. They had an interview last year.
First of all, Anil, I'm no longer a Guyanese citizen. I have relinquished my Guyanese citizenship, right? I am now a U.S. citizen. Okay. Let me get one thing. Let me get one thing clear. Okay. You said in your life that people here in the U.S. think that we are allowed to do things and to say things via social media, and there will be no repercussion, or we're not going to be punished, and so. And I speak the truth.
A few moments later.
Well-known Guyanese activist Melissa Atwell, also known as Melly Mel, was taken into custody and questioned by U.S. Homeland Security agents this morning, and is said to be cooperating fully with the agents. News source understands that the agents accompanied Atwell from her home to one of their New York offices, where, according to sources, she has been questioned about her online activism.
You and your government are in control of the courts in Guyana, so whatever judgment you think that you're going to get in Guyana, come your mother's cunt and get it here in the U.S. I dare you and your government. Because here we are, let somebody that did law for 2 years and use the big attorney general, you went to school, you went here, you're big and you're right. Let me school you. Have a fucking seat, let Auntie Melly Mel school you. Right? Because here what's going to happen. There's no secret. I have been in contact with the FBI, speaking on this government and them wanting to extradite me and bring me home and trumming up all these charges in Guyana. That's a whole other thing. I don't want to get y'all too much information, because when y'all get hit with what coming to y'all, Anil, I want Jack, you and Ethan and all of them say,
lie? That is lie. Lie? You hear lie? Teacher pussy say if you tell a lie, you're going to hell as soon as you die. Why, sir? Wake up, the day is bright, and I feel the blue. Turn your dial for your vibe, we're ready to go. With Courdel Jones, you know it's gonna be real. From 8 to 9, bringing vibes you can feel.
News, views, and what's hot today will keep you wide in every way. Livewire, tune in and feel the spark. Every morning, lighting up your heart. Courdel's here, bringing life to your day. Monday to Friday, we're paving the way. Wake up, the day is bright, time to feel the flow. Turn your dial to Livewire, we're ready to go. With Courdel Jones, you know it's gonna be real. From 8 to 9, from 8 to 9, bringing vibes you can feel. News, views, and what's hot today will keep you wired in every way. We'll keep you wired every way, in every way. Livewire, tune in and feel the spark. Every morning, lighting up your heart. Courdel's here, bringing life to your day. Monday to Friday, we're paving the way. Stories that matter, we got the scoop. From the latest headlines to the local truth, it's your community, your voice, your power. to the energy, the beat of the street, the show that connects. It's where people meet. We're wired to your world, we got the news. On Livewire, there's nothing to lose. Livewire, turn and feel the spark. Every morning, lighting up your heart. Courdel's here, bringing life to your day. Monday to Friday, we're paving the way. Livewire, tune in and feel the spark. Every morning, lighting up your heart. Courdel's here, bringing life to your day. Monday to Friday, we're paving the way. Livewire, tune in and feel the spark. Every morning, lighting up your heart. Courdel's here, bringing life to your day. Monday to Friday, we're paving the way. Stories that matter, we got the scoop. From the latest headlines to the local truth. It's your community, your voice, your power. Livewire hits you every hour. Livewire, tune in and feel the spark. Every morning, lighting up your heart. It's your community, your voice, your power. Livewire hits you every hour. Wake up, the day is bright, time to feel the glow. Turn your dial for your vibe, we're ready to go. With Courdel Jones, you know it's gonna be real. From 8 to 9, bringing vibes you can feel. News, views, and what's hot today will keep you wide in every way. Livewire, tune in and feel the spark. Every morning, lighting up your heart. Courdel's here, bringing life to your day. Monday to Friday, we're paving the way. Wake up, the day is bright, time to feel the flow. Turn your dial to Livewire, we're ready to go. Courdel Jones, you know it's gonna be real. From 8 to 9, from 8 to 9, bringing vibes you can feel. News, views, and what's hot today will keep you wired in every way. We'll keep you wired every way, in every way. Livewire, tune in and feel the spark. Every morning, lighting up your heart. Courdel's here, bringing life to your day. Monday to Friday, we're paving the way. Stories that matter, we got the scoop. From the latest headlines to the local truth. It's your community, your voice, your power. Livewire hits you every hour. So grab your coffee, your tea, or toast. With Courdel Jones, we'll give you the most. Livewire, we'll give you the way. Running to the energy, the beat of the street.
Good morning, and welcome to another episode of Livewire with yours truly, Courdel Jones. It's the 31st of March, 2025, and we're back here in studio with you guys for yet another episode of Livewire. Thank you to all the persons who continue to tune in. Guys, please remember to share the live so that we can have the widest viewership possible. So if you're joining us on YouTube, you can share it to whichever platform you're on. Facebook as well. Please share it to the pages that you may be subscribed to, or the groups, I should say. And let's share the information. I trust everybody's having a wonderful morning so far. It's Monday. I don't know, it's what happened to me on Friday. I don't know how I let this thing slip me. Yeah, I don't know how. Yeah, sorry. I don't know how I let this thing slip me last week. Last week, Friday, I was in Kokwani, and we were focusing on other things, what's happening in Kokwani, housing, and that kind of thing. And whilst I was there, I saw a live stream start, and I realized it was one of these prelim hearings for Melissa, Melly Mel, Smelly Smell, Actwell Holder, whatever it was. And I had to tune in. So it was amazing to see the transformation from the confident, loud, and boisterous person who went to law school for 2 years, who's schooling people with the 2 years in her law school, her 2-year law school experience, schooling people. And I often say to persons, this internet is a serious thing, right? You could say something years ago, somebody can find it and bring it back up. You understand? So I was shocked. I thought she would have been confident sitting down there like a bravado, waiting to on whatever judgment the judge would have meted out to her. Well, at least not in that case, because as I said, it's the prelim hearings towards the trial or however they deal with it. But I saw a very meek individual. All the times that I've heard Melly Mel lives, and I may not have seen all of them, I've never seen her with a Bible, speaking to anything in relation to the church or spiritual or anything like that. But it's amazing to see how some individuals automatically and quickly become religious when pressure breaks them, right? I said, no life I ever see Melly Mel with a Bible in your hand. I tell you all about this government in the name of God, they corrupt in the name of Jesus. Nothing. You ain't getting nothing from her. Now, all of a sudden, you find yourself in some trouble. And remember, mind you, this is after her saying to us in Guyana here, in the diaspora, to the world, I'm an American citizen. Now we hear one was pending and one was pending and one was sign up and we waiting and we waiting. That is not how citizenship works, Melly. Right? It is not approved until it's approved. You're not a citizen until you're a citizen. So if you were a citizen, you won't be experiencing these kinds of troubles you're experiencing. You understand? You wouldn't have been doing it. So Melly get bail. I think it was 7,000 US. So that's supposed to be 7,000. So it's 1.4 million. And give or take, depending on the exchange rate, 1.4 million in bail, right? So I was expecting, because remember, she is so confident that this is America and not Guyana, and thing don't walk so hey. You understand? And all the bravado that she puts forward on her lives. I was expecting that as soon as the bail pay and Melly Mel step out to that correctional facility in Louisiana, we would have had a life. We would have had a life. I was expecting it up to this morning. I went on a check on her page. I said we would have had a life. Melly Mel coming vicious because she get loose. You understand? She get loose. So she coming with a vengeance. Right? I said we would have had a life, but lo and behold, this is what is on our page currently. They worry about MMG donation. That's what they're stressing out about right now. MMG donation. Look at the right here. MMG. You understand? But that was since the 20th though. That was since the 20th. And we have still heard nothing since. So remember, in the initial stages of this situation, y'all by yours truly was deemed as a liar. We find out it's true. We still ain't got no life. And I'm glad that maybe because of her experience, she may be thinking some more before she peddles the false information and the divisive rhetoric that she usually engages in. Right? I played a video here in the early parts of this life in relation to even her saying there, and I think this was in 2023 or 2024, that your husband and she separated. Now, all of a sudden, you're a married woman and you're dating. Deal with your headache. Deal with your headache. Oh my goodness. But listen, this is the last thing I'm going to say on this thing. Melly, God don't like ugly. Right? You cannot decide that you're jumping on the Jesus Christ bandwagon when you fall in depression. You got to be praising and praying regularly. And then you get the kind of blessings you're looking for. But that jump on when things brace you, God don't like that, Melly. You got to do better. Right? You got to do better, sister. Morning to all the persons joining us across the diaspora. Morning to all the persons joining us across the 10 administrative regions. Special good morning to the persons in the comment section. Good morning to you guys. Thank you guys for being here as normal. I see a lot of regulars. Tracy Martindale, Leslie Mongol, Miss Mutu. Good morning to you and everybody at the Region 3 RDC. Krishnadat, morning to you. Michael Gonraj, Asif Hamad, morning to you. 10%. 750 US. I know you're talking about them, Mukesh. You gotta scroll and see. Morning to Mukesh Vishnudat and his family. Cecil Rampasad, K. Watson, morning to you. Armela Kosai, Rahim Amarali, morning to you. Betty Chris, Corinne DeClue. 7,500. Oh, I think Mukesh saying she got paid 10%, and I guess the BL bonds people can pay the rest. You saw she get it easy over there. Well, she says according to Akani Blair, she's still locked up. So apparently in the States there, you could pay 10% to the bail, and I guess the bail bonds person puts the rest. You saw she lucky? We ain't got them options down here, in Guyana. It's either you pay a bill or you stay in the lockups. You saw she lucky, but we got to tell you with that. Morning to everybody. 7,500. Thank you for the correction. 7,500 BL. Morning, Pam and Trevor. Morning, Robert Ramp. Morning, everybody. Right? Anyway, my point is, the gravy was on the pot under high flame, bubbling up. Bloop, 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 bloop. Now look at the gravy in the Melly Mel pot. It's low fire now. Bloop, bloop, bloop. That's my point with her. All the time, a lot of heat. You see in the gravy in the pot bubbling and shit going on. Now look at it now. Low gravy. Low gravy. All the potato go mash up in the pot. How she got this thing going on. Anyway, I wanted to draw your attention to a case that was recently decided at the High Court in relation to two retired justices moving to the court against the government of Guyana. Right? And first of all, I want to take y'all down memory lane. Now, this case was filed by a Justice Holder and a Justice Reynolds. Now, I'd like to remind people so that y'all have a clear idea of who are the people we're talking about. Morning to Connie Blair on the live. Chef Rocky as well. Morning to you. Morning to everybody in the comment section. I'm sorry I didn't get to all of you this morning. But Justice Holder and Justice Reynolds, right? Now, mind you, this is Justice Holder, just to give you an idea. Now, this is an article from 2017, right? PM pushes for Justice Holder to recuse himself from case. Now, I don't know how many persons have the memory, But could you imagine why the Prime Minister was pushing for Justice Holder to recuse himself from this case? It's because the sitting Attorney General said to the Justice, and let me make it big, I want to say scandal in them, right? Said to Justice Holder, and the Attorney General at that time was Basil Williams, right? And this is a direct quote, that on March 3rd, 2017, during a court hearing, the then Attorney General said to this High Court judge, I could say what I want. I could say what I want to say and however I want to say it. I have always been like that. The last magistrate who told me what to do was later found dead. Right? And Justice Holder complained. Look, let me make it big for you to see. Right? Look at right here. Justice he quoted the AG as saying, I could say what I want to say and however I want to say it. I have always been like that. The last magistrate who told me what to do was later found dead. That's who Justice Holder is. Right? That is what Basil Williams, the then Attorney General, said to Justice Holder. Right? So Justice Holder been under pressure since in the APNU AFC time. But guess who Justice Holder is? Now, do you remember when David Granger spoke of the most competent interlocutor? CARICOM. The most competent interlocutor. Do you remember when there were rumors that just as how persons in the opposition were saying the General Secretary is the real president and them kind of things? The same way people were saying Joseph Harmon was the real president and not Granger, right? But we have seen actions. We have seen actions that could prove differently. As you see, President Ali is an active president, a president who has made decisions, a president who ensures when he makes a decision is followed through to the letter. Against Granger, who was danger, first of all, hardly seen and could have been deemed as heavily incompetent in relation to running a country. If we needed to write a history book, or we needed to do a documentary on history of Guyana, David Granger. Anything else? No. Anything else? No. Right? So after David Granger would have determined that CARICOM is the most competent interlocutor, Justice Holder again. Now, Justice Holder is the father-in-law of Astel Collins. Astel Collins was the personal assistant of Joseph Harmon. You see what's showing you? The connections? Personal assistant to Joseph Harmon. And after the leader of the coalition government determined that the most competent interlocutor would be CARICOM, Justice Holder granted injunction to stop the CARICOM recount. Not on you, I mean somebody applied to the court for it. But it was a late night, somewhat kind of under the table operation. You understand me? Nevertheless, let me come to my real point here. Now, Justice Holder and Justice Reynolds moved to the court against the government of Guyana. Right? And let me give the background. These two retired justices sued the government of Guyana in October 2024, last year, arguing that they were unfairly denying an 8% retroactive salary increase on their pensionable salaries. Their claim was based on the Constitutional Office's remuneration of holders order, arguing that their salaries should have been adjusted retroactively for pension calculations. They sought a higher monthly pension I should say, $819,556, right? Monthly pension, $819,556. That's what they wanted, instead of their exiting pension of $758,849. And they demanded millions of dollars in back pay. Right? So upon retiring, their pension monthly was $758,849. But they wanted $819,556,000. Right? Now, the judges also challenged the Financial Circular number 11 of 2022, which limited the salary increase to public servants, constitutional agency staff, and members of the discipline services employed as of December 31st, 2022. So they went to court, they challenged the government. There was a hullabaloo of, it's based on race, and it's based on this, and it's politically motivated, and all kind of nonsense. Run to the courts, right? So there was a ruling. So let me give you a breakdown of the decision. Now, Justice Brassington Reynolds was partially successful. The court ruled that he was entitled to a retroactive salary since he was still on payroll at the time the adjustment was issued. However, his claim for an increased pension was denied, as the court found his pension was properly calculated. When it comes to Justice Franklin Holder, the man who blocked the most competent interlocutors from coming to this country and dealing with the election situation, the court ruled that retired Justice Holder, failed to prove he was entitled to any retroactive salary adjustment or pension increase. The ruling confirmed that the government's compensation of his pension, or computation of his pension, I should say, and benefits were correct, and no error was made. None whatsoever. So oftentimes when you hear of these, the racial boogeyman, you understand? The racist boogeyman. Everything is, once you're this color, everything against you. You understand? The racist boogeyman, the divisive boogeyman that come from the opposition. Always, anything that they could find. Now, on his program, Issues in the News, the Attorney General, and Minister of Legal Affairs, the Honorable Anil Nandalal, spoke to this. And he dismissed the claims of racial bias, stating that the government's handling of judicial salaries and pensions was done fairly and lawfully. And so we would have seen in the court. The judges had full legal representation. And I must add, they had 1 and 2 senior counsels in the midst. You understand? So it's not a case where these judges had poor representation who couldn't represent their case properly in front of in a court of law. They had very good representation. And the court's decision was purely based on merit, not race or discrimination. No constitutional rights were violated. The court upheld the legitimacy of the government's financial policy and its implementation of the 8% salary increase. The ruling proves that the claims of unfair treatment were exaggerated, with one case entirely dismissed and other only partially successful. Now, again, it's never a case of, let's look at the veracity of the claims. They always take it to a personal level. So it always has to be something with race. It always has to be something with race. right? Now, what is the government's legal position, and are they going to file an appeal? Yes, they're going to file an appeal. Now, the state has filed an appeal reinforcing its position that all payments were calculated correctly and that the judge's demand exceed their legal entitlements. The ruling supports the legality of Financial Circular 11 of 2022, confirming that the salary adjustments were applied within the legal framework. Now, what are the takeaways here? The lawsuit attempted to challenge the government's financial policy, but the High Court mostly sided with the state. Justice Holder's case was dismissed completely, reinforcing that his pension and his benefits were correctly calculated. Justice Reynolds was awarded only partial relief, indicating that the state's payment policy were largely upheld. Now, in relation to the racial bias claims, these were debunked as the government's handling of the case was deemed fair and transparent. The government remains confident in its position, and an appeal with the appeal on the way, we're going to see how this will unfold. Right? And this will ensure legal consistency and fairness in public sector salary adjustments. Now, let me come out of the judicial system a little bit. I'll jump to these two. Now, we buy... Oh my Lord. Look, this place is trouble. Now, the Starbrook News has hinted to some internal division. What I'm saying to you is this is no secret, right? And Starbrook News has only confirmed now what many have suspected for months. The Alliance for Change is deeply divided despite its attempts to project unity, right? Now, the tensions escalated after Nigel Hughes reactivated his membership, I should say. Reactivated his membership, paid his dues, and he was then declared or voted in as the new party leader, seemingly overnight, right? Now, the Nigel Hughes versus Sherrod Duncan rift has been brewing ever since. Sherrod and his supporters have been based on information coming out of that camp, and the fact that the only place we see Sherrod Duncan is in the ring. You never see back at the AFC press conference or anywhere around the upper echelons of the AFC. So Sherrod and his supporters have been sidelined and ostracized by Nigel Hughes' faction within the AFC. Now, Duncan, through his credible source platform, has been throwing indirect shots at Nigel Hughes, signaling the continued friction. Duncan recently posted a clip of the PNCR leader Aubrey Norton rejecting Hughes as the coalition presidential candidate, exposing the AFC's weakened position. Now, again, we all know that the AFC has been experiencing declining influence. The AFC has lost its relevance and credibility, with the party being nothing more than an internal battleground between personal ambitions. The PNC, APNU, has no confidence in Nigel Hughes, which is why Norton swiftly shut down his attempt to lead the coalition. The AFC's failure to present a united front weakens its ability to influence national politics, reducing it to a shadow or a shell of its former self. And you know that AFC, being a shell, they've been talking to Shell as well. Nigel playing with his contract. Nigel, you're playing with your external contract. All right. Now, in my view, Nigel Hughes' leadership gamble has backfired. Hughes attempted to strong arm his way into the leadership, now has fractured and alienated party members instead of uniting them. His alliance with opposition elements has not secured him the support he hoped for, making his leadership a questionable experience. His credibility is further eroded as his factions struggle to consolidate power within the AFC, let alone the wider opposition coalition. Now, what is the future for the AFC? Quite simply put, the AFC is a party in free fall. The AFC is now, in my view, fractured beyond repair, with competing factions pulling in different directions. It's failed leadership transition, lack of grassroots support. Y'all remember Linden? The ancestors sent Nigel and Cathy to Linden. The ancestors called Nigel and Cathy and say, you go to Linden, my son and daughter, and you meet with the people. But you know what the ancestors forget to do? To tell the people, come out and meet Nigel and Cathy. Could you imagine that? The ancestors forget to tell the people in Linden, you come out, we're sending these people to y'all. We're sending them. So again, the leadership transition was horrible. They don't have the grassroots support. And the internal power struggle, and I should say struggles because it's coming from different directions, signal that it may not survive politically. The party's original middle ground appeal is now dead. And it has now been reduced to internal bickering and power plays. At the end of the day, people need to realize that the AFC is a sinking ship. The AFC's division is a major advantage for the incumbent, as it further weakens it further weakens already disorganized and ineffective opposition. The infighting between Hughes and Duncan proves that the AFC is more focused on internal battles than national leadership. With Nigel Hughes struggling to gain traction and Sherrod Duncan playing the role of an internal Guyanese critic, the AFC is in disarray and frankly politically irrelevant. I don't know how persons could still see this as a viable option in these times, right? Who's this trying to call me? Who's this? Just a second, folks. Right? So that's the current situation with the AFC. And again, we were pretty right. So that's a synopsis of what's currently going down in there. Last week I didn't get much time to speak on the General Secretary's press conference, but this morning we'll discuss that a bit. Right now, last week, Thursday, the General Secretary, as normal, touched on quite a few topics. And one of the first things that he jumped to was the government's development and economic policy, right? Is this? What's the government's development and economic policy? Now, the government remains committed to economic growth and stability, ensuring a broad-based development across all sectors. There has been significant investment in infrastructure. Education, healthcare continues to be a priority to enhance the quality of life of citizens. The construction of new hospitals, new schools at all levels, nursery, primary, secondary, across the regions. We have seen that increase. At the end of the day, what we need to remember is Guyana's population continues to grow and expand. And we need facilities to handle that. The population can be experience proper health care. The future generations can be educated properly to lead this nation and not add to certain groups and factions that exhibit high-level retardation in their arguments and their ideas that they put forward. You understand? Now, the administration that the General Secretary stated is focused on job creation and increased opportunity for Guyanese at all levels. And we have seen this in the oil and gas sector. We've seen this in the traditional sectors. We've seen the administration implement the pathway program for those who were not working to actually be gainfully employed and contribute to their homes. We've seen the reopening of the sugar estates that has re-employed thousands of persons. We've seen the push of the housing drive, the continued push of the government's housing drive, which employs thousands of persons. Those homes don't build themselves. Those housing schemes don't turn into housing schemes on their own. All those persons, all those contractors have to hire staff. You understand? We've seen increased opportunity in terms of persons upskilling themselves. Tertiary education in this country is now free. We see persons having the ability to study abroad right here at home at highly accredited universities. Now, the government maintains a pro-people agenda, ensuring that all communities benefit from development initiatives. Now, the General Secretary also took some time to talk about opposition criticism and misinformation. Now, he stated that the opposition continues to spread misinformation about the government's policies and projects. The AFC and the APNU factions remain divided and lack credibility, with internal conflicts impacting their ability to challenge the government effectively. Now, the General Secretary made it clear that the government of Guyana, this Irfan Ali-led administration, welcomes scrutiny, but opposition claims must be based on facts rather than baseless lying allegations. And that is what I often say to people. Jesus Christ, how long it takes you to do a little research so that when you present something, you have some sort of credibility in relation to what you're saying. Jeez, y'all no shame? Now, the General Secretary went on to talk about the oil and gas sector. And he stated the government is ensuring transparency and accountability in the oil and gas industry. There is a structured approach to revenue management, with investments going towards long-term national development. The opposition claims of corruption and mismanagement in the oil sector are unfounded and politically motivated. And this is why, again, I say to you, especially to opposition persons, when you're making an allegation, come with some facts. Don't just tell us what you feel like. Don't just make up something and just expect the people to swallow it. Come with your facts. All people are asking you is when you're making a claim, back it up with something that they could look at. That's all people saying. Now, in relation to the corruption allegations and governance, the General Secretary dismissed the claims of rampant corruption, emphasizing that strong systems are in place to prevent the misuse of public funds. Now, the administration has implemented robust anti-corruption measures, ensuring public accountability. Unlike the people who are crying foul now, the previous AP and new AFC government, the current administration has not engaged in widespread mismanagement. Right? He also took some time to talk about the ruling that we just discussed earlier this morning. The General Secretary went on to talk about government's commitment to hinterland and rural development. He spoke about the commissioning of new wells in Region 1, ensuring it, and this ensures that persons in that area have first-time access. 500 residents have first-time access to potable water. The project demonstrates the administration's commitment to providing essential services in hinterland communities. 15 million was invested in the project with the collaboration between the Guyana Water Incorporated and the local community. They were able to get that done. Now, the PPPC government continues to bridge the gap between urban and hinterland areas by expanding the access to basic utilities. In relation to international relations and the border controversy with Venezuela, the government remains committed, according to the General Secretary of the People's Progressive Party, Civic, to protecting Guyana's sovereignty in the border controversy with Venezuela. Diplomatic efforts continue to ensure peaceful resolution while maintaining Guyana's territorial integrity. Right? Now, one of the things I wanted to touch on at the General Secretary's press conference, I did ask him to respond to this claim of, was it discrimination, he said? Oh, intimidation by the AFC. They were claiming that PPP supporters are intimidated. Guys, please just give me 1 second. Please, I'm coming back. Sorry.
We are a peaceful people, struggle as we struggle, and we don't look for trouble, just ask around. But when outside faces from foreign places talk about taking over, we ain't backing down. We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain.
Sorry about that. I'm recovering from the flu and I'm still a little bit sniffly. Right? What was I talking about? Yeah. So last week, the AFC released a press release speaking to the intimidation of persons and that kind of thing, and the right to lawfully protest and to gather and this sort of stuff. What about the law that speaks to persons having a right to choose which political party they want to support? What about that? Is that not something that the AFC is thinking about? What about the persons from the AFC and the wider opposition that continue to attack and criticize Afro-Guyanese for choosing not to support them, which is their constitutional right? They have a right to choose whichever party they want to support. Case in point, James Anthony Bond Look at the vile attacks that James Bond has to endure because James Bond decides, you know something, I will support something different. I have seen what is happening here. I see progress happening here. I want to be a part of the progress. That's all James Bond did, you know. James Bond didn't go and tell Aubrey Kay he so and so the PNC should shut down. He didn't do none of that. If you remember, I did last year, the year before, James Bond was on this show talking about he was going back to the PNC because he was out of politics, mainstream politics for a while. He was focusing on his entrepreneurial endeavors. He was going back to the PNC to ensure Aubrey Norton wins as leader of the PNC. Right? He said on the show that he feels Aubrey Norton is the most, is it what he said, visible or known or popular candidate, and that's the best option for the PNC. He went, he saw, and he said, nah, I gone. He ain't entitled to do that. Who James Bond violate by going to see what they had to offer after being away for some time, going to see what they have to offer, realizing it's nonsense, and realizing it's not going to get the Guyanese youth, the Guyanese population in general anywhere, and decided to walk away. Look at how he's being attacked. Look at how he's being attacked. Look how Trisha Richards was attacked. Trisha Richards said, this is during local government. I fed up, beg for things from a community. I can't get nothing. I fed up, beg for the, do the road, do the drain. Oh God, do something. Can't get no help. Now, could you imagine that Trisha Richards, right now, as a regular person, is able to do or has done much more for her constituents than when she was a PNC councillor? Could you imagine she was a PNC councillor when the PNC-led APNU had the executive? So they could have done a lot for Georgetown alone. Okay, remember, they run in Georgetown, they in charge of the council from the beginning. So they could have done things to people like Trisha Richards, Patricia Chase Green, and those people who have decided to say, look, I'm tired of being in one place and nothing is happening. It's time for me to move on. Nigel Hughes in the AFC, what about those persons constitutional? I gave 3 examples here. James Bond, Trisha Richards, Patricia Chase Green, former mayor. What about their constitutional rights that are being violated when they're attacked by people like Sherrod Duncan and Mark Benchcop and Rickford Bork and the recently released jail board, Melly Mel? Y'all don't realize that you need to speak out about those things too? What about Black people in general, Afro-Guyanese in general? Let me be politically correct. Afro-Guyanese in general who are labeled as house slaves, soup drinkers, slave catchers, because they decide to exercise their constitutional right not to support foolishness. Huh? What about those people, regular Guyanese who are not a part of the leadership of your party, who have a brain, who said, you know something, I saw nothing done in 2015 to 2020. So much done 2015 to this date, the 30th, 31st of March 2025. I decide to support something else. What about their rights? You don't care about their rights? They ain't got rights? What about Ian McPherson? What about Ian McPherson, who was doing his job? He ain't joined a political party. He ain't had on no red shirt. He be wearing a white shirt, jack, and a black pants, and get labeled as a what? A house slave. When y'all try to steal the maize out of the National Assembly He ain't got rights. He should have been abused like that. He had to, as a dignified professional at work, had to roll on the ground to stop y'all from doing foolishness. He ain't got rights. He got get abused like that. Racial does not verbal abuse. That's not them being a racist. What the Mace got to do with any blood clot race in this country? The Mace is oh gosh, what's the right term? The Mace is an instrument that is make official the sittings of the National Assembly. Without the Mace there, things can't happen. So it has nothing to do with race. That gentleman was doing his job, and he was labeled as this, that, the terror, the horror, all kind of thing they call he. Had he rolling on the ground and all kind of thing. What about those people? They don't have rights, or the AFC is not interested in their rights because they don't support the AFC. Look at this worries. I talked about her last week Friday. Laura George. And this is why I call her the sleeping Indigenous ambassador. The things and the rights that she should advocate for Amerindians. She has no interest in that. She want to go mix her to eat cheese, puff and stuff egg and drink wine and juice free. Those are you interested in. You're interested in the LCDS, the extended version that put in millions of dollars in these indigenous communities that y'all wasn't doing. You're not interested in that. You're not interested in the money the indigenous people are getting from the carbon credits. You're interested, and that is the retardation and misinformation that I continue to say we get from the opposition. Oh God, no indigenous people are the next. Oh, Babs, indigenous people are there. Babs, indigenous people are there and represented. But again, I say it to you, the opposition has to come at you emotionally, because they can't come at you intellectually to say, well, oh, we'll do this, and that, and this is how we'll do it, and it will be implemented by then, and look back, this is what we did. You remember we did this and it benefited you for so many years? They can't tell you that. So they have to play on you emotionally. So, yes, they got indigenous influencers. And when they see a post like that from Laura George, why they left me out? No, I vex with the government. I vex. That's what they're hoping for. That's what they're hoping for. It's always race. It's always race. It is always race. I was just in Shulinab last week, an indigenous community about 2 hours drive outside of Lethem in Region 9. Right? The Minister of Labor was there to start bid training for the people in the community, happening right in the community there. You think they had the 2015 to 2020? You think Ali Cock was there at Shulinab to introduce any training program for anybody? I spoke about job creation, the CSOs. I met a couple of CSOs in Shulinab who get back to work. And this is the things I want persons to remember. Those CSOs had rights when y'all knocked them off. Isn't it their right to seek employment and take care of themselves? And you wonder why people moving away from the coalition and the AFC? Nothing but rhetoric. Nothing to show you tangible. I don't care who Secretary of State said what, but any road in Guyana, it better than pre-2020. It better. Right? And guess what? Given our wild drivers here, I'm glad the road wavy to slow the backside down and let them focus on the road. That's why it's wavy. Right? So you slow down and you pay attention to your driving, because clearly we got driving issues here. Clearly. So everybody who, what are we looking for up and down? Yes, let the road be wavy. You slow down on the wavy road and take your time. Let the death toll go down a little bit for vehicular accidents in this country. When the road wavy, you wake up and focus. Hold it with 2 hands so you could steer good. So yes, you leave our wavy road right there. And anybody who will want a concussion, you jump in a helicopter and you fly and go wherever you want. We got helicopter service here, 10 minutes from town to the airport. Back. That's how we live in. That's how we live in. No disrespect to nobody. I am stating my opinion on the roads the government that governing me build right now. Right? And I'm saying, if it wavy, it's the, and oh Jesus Christ, even when you wavy road, you see all them people going on the road like that, ain't good. Could you imagine if this road was like a NASCAR surface, completely smooth and think, what would it do? We want to have a helicopter alone flying with a truck, car, and pick up everything flying. Then it goes so fast, it would take off. You understand? So you leave my wavy road. I appreciate it. You understand me? I appreciate my wavy road that I could drive on, that helping me with my commute on the East Bank, on the East Coast, the community roads, wherever it there. Thank you for the wavy road. Because we didn't have no road before. And I'm talking about Heroes Highway that connecting till to Tamari and connecting to the... We had no road before. I live on the West Bank. And I'm saying to you, the Schooner to Crane bypass road has eased the lives of people living between the bridge and Freedom Hoop. You hear me? It has brought, and listen, the bridge didn't even finish yet. The bridge, the new Demerara River crossing, it didn't finish yet. But that bypass that takes everybody who live in after Crane, giving them no reason to come on the West Bank here for nothing at all, has brought ease and relief to persons living out here and persons who drive and gotta come home here. That when you cross the bridge, you don't got to spend an hour between the Harbor Bridge and Freedom Hoop just to reach home. Because the line was that long. The line was that long. So, I'm glad with the roads we got. We have been like it, y'all use helicopter and y'all fly. And you know what is even more disgusting and distasteful? Imagine the group who in build no road, street. They do nothing of halfway to compare it to. So you won't build no highway that we could look at that smooth and then give it be a up and a down, up and a down. We ain't seeing that from you. We have nothing to compare it to. You won't build out community roads across this country, so we have nothing to compare it to. And then you're talking about road, you buy. I tell y'all, sometimes I am honestly vexed that I am not the Guyanese critic. So I can cuss and go on. Because honestly, that's what this make you want to do. You did nothing. You did nothing. And you're comparing something to the nothing that you do, or complaining about something when you do nothing. Again, it is known that the US and China have their issues. So it was not, what's the word to use? Surprising when I heard the Secretary of State take a particular line in terms of China and their investments in the wider world. Right? But for those who may not have all the information, the opposition going to take it around. Oh, look, the road to China billboard road. Nonsense. Complete and utter nonsense. Right? So AFC, coming back to what we initially started discussing, you have to look out for the rights of all Guyanese, not just the ones you deem sympathetic to you. I understand that you now have somewhat of you guys have now had interactions with the Mohammeds. So you may feel the need to put out a press statement defending the Mohammeds when persons protest for whatever reason, wherever the Mohammeds are, whoever decide to do that, right? This just shows that you guys are maybe closer than we think. So I don't know what you plan to accomplish with this, Nigel, but I hope that better sense prevails. And if you're going to comment on discrimination, you should comment on it equally. Comment on the discrimination against James Bond. Comment on the discrimination against Trisha Richards. Comment on the discrimination against Patricia Chase Green. Comment on those things. Right? Comment on the discrimination against the average Guyanese who doesn't support the PNC or the AFC or the WPA. Comment on David Hines. Comment on David Hines. All of us aren't lick batties just because we don't support you. Right? Comment on David Hines. The kinds of things that some of these political parties just let slide and let other people say. You could imagine if Barajagdio, they call Afro-Guyanese lick batty. Could you imagine what it would have been? People would have literally pulling hair out the head, but me really got. But people would have pulling hair out the head. How does David Hines G-Pass allow he to go on like this? Guys, y'all have a wonderful day. Thank you for tuning into the program today. Please don't be fooled by the nonsense that comes out of certain quarters. As we approach elections 2025, I don't ever, on any program that I have hosted in the past, or this one currently, would ever tell you people who to vote for. What I suggest you do is, in a quiet moment, you have a seat and just reflect. Because we all have memory, we all have the ability to recollect things. Reflect from 2020 to now. How have you benefited? And I want you to be honest, because you might see persons complaining they get a contract. But it's not that they get a contract, it's that they get 5, 6, 7 contracts in a year, so they vex. They're benefiting, but they're benefiting in the quantity that they want. You understand? Or you might hear somebody complaining about something else. They ain't getting enough of this, but they're benefiting some other way. So it might take you not some time, but you might need to sit quietly and think how you have benefited. And in some cases, it may not be you directly. And what people need to understand, there will never be 100% success rate in anything. Never. And if there is, they got some kind of something wrong there. There will never be 100% success rate in anything. So even if there's a case of you saying, I haven't personally benefited, maybe your child benefit. Maybe your wife benefit. Maybe your parents benefit. You understand? Think about it. Maybe your community benefit. You have new community roads, so you're not fixing your car or busting up your tire as frequently as you used to. Or maybe you benefit because you got a car, a motorcycle, a bus, a truck, a boat that you're benefiting from. One, the subsidized gas that the government was looking after since COVID, the onset of COVID. Or two, the now lower rate for gasoline that you are now enjoying. When I said your children, I'm talking about because we care. Because they didn't care. I talk about because we care, because they did not care. They did not care enough to give you $10,000 to help every Guyanese parent who has a child registered in public or private school with the school expenses. So I will always talk about because we care, because they did not care. All the benefits that teachers are getting now, and based on what Coretta McDonald said, you guys have always benefited under PPPC administrations. The minors, the tributors tax, the duty-free stuff that they look after, the general population with the removal of over 200 taxes implemented by a very wretched and crossing administration. How have you benefited? The solar farms implemented in the various regions to ensure that there's an energy mix. Training for young people, training for persons of any age, because BIT is not just for young people, any age. Advancements in healthcare. How have you benefited? Dialysis money. This guy, this Haynes guy with the AFC, anyway, no bother with you. I'm wrapping up. Advancements in healthcare, spectacle voucher, dialysis voucher, so you could go private hospital to get a diagnosis if you don't like what you hear at public. How have you benefited? That is what I want people to ask themselves. How have you benefited? And if you can't find nothing with yourself, look right around you in the same house there. If you're living alone, look out the window. But if you're living in a house with either your mother, your children, some sibling, somebody, you benefit some way, shape, or form. Right? Maybe your child get a write-off of the tuition that you had paid before you get free, so they get them back the money. Maybe your child will now benefit from free University of Education, free GTI, TVET, all TVET training free. So again, when that time comes, and as we get closer to that, again, I will not tell you who to vote for. But you sit in a quiet moment and reflect. Or, no, that's not going far. Reflect. I'll go backwards. Reflect. Right? On how you have benefited. You know, last thing I'm going to add. Young people need to be a little more serious about this life. I got a call about 2 weeks ago. Some persons were looking for people to employ. So they asked me if I would have known anybody that was interested in it. I submitted several names. Most of those persons are employed already. But I had one and two. They had their own thing going on, so they didn't go. Listen, in some of these cases, some of us have nobody but ourselves to blame for the situations we're in. And the fact that some persons want to attribute it to the government, I call it the blame game. There's only so much people can do to help you. Even the Bible says, God helps those who help themselves. So if you ain't willing to help yourself, don't expect, as Aubrey Norton said, anybody to bend over backwards to help you. You got to show interest in what you want to accomplish. And if you don't expect anybody to show it more than you. Anyway, I done row. Y'all be good Guyanese. And as I usually say, it's all about It's all about peace. It's all about love. It's all about one Guyana.
We are a peaceful people, struggle as we struggle, and we don't look for trouble, just ask around. But when outside faces from foreign places talk about taking over, we ain't backing down. We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one grass, not a blade of grass. This land is all I know. We're gonna make it somehow. We will bend like a bow, but never break. Our fathers